Nigeria 2015, continuing our focus on the peace accords that have been signed, the attitude and character, behavior of politicians, even the electorate. How are we working towards peace in these elections? Well, let me get Innocent Chuguma to respond to this one. Now, with the introduction of the card reader for the last elections, did that count for something? Are politicians feeling the heat in terms of them saying, well, the electorate, the voters have got to be taken a little more seriously now?
To me, it's actually a game changer. Because prior to this election, voters' card didn't probably matter much because I remember when I was the chairman of TMG and we observed the 2007 election and ended in a report, I believe titled Do the Votes Count? Or End of Transition, a transition program to fail. People were doing what we describe as wholesale or distributive rigging. Where voting patterns you observe in the field didn't matter. People sat back and allocated. But here came voters, the card reader, and of course the permanent voters card that ensured that before you go to cast your vote, that you're actually the person that was registered to vote. And that has again brought to the fore the importance of demography. We read about the elections in the US and talk about demographic shift, the minorities and all that are suddenly becoming prominent. That's what democracy does. Demography and democracy go hand in hand. And to the extent that people are realizing now that you need to appeal to the diverse population in order to get their vote, it's a plus for our democracy. And that's why we're saying it can be done in a civil manner. These things are done. Deals are caught left, right, and center for people to get to go out there to vote. But so long as we do it within the framework of the law, it's allowed.
Are we approaching security? You were talking about national security. Could you complete your thoughts on that one? Are we approaching it the right way?
So far, so good, yes, but it could be better. You see, national security is just what you can call a collective of other security subsets. Before you can have optimal national security situations, you have to look at areas like energy security, food security, health security, ethnic security, religious security. All these things key into the end result, which is national security. Military security and some other ones are actually what you can call last resort aspects of these subsets. And good enough, we have a National Statistic Agency, I believe, or something like that. Yeah. We should be able to get, and if they don't have it, demanding for it will prompt them to begin to pay attention to these things. Let me give you a typical example. If it was known to our traditional institutions what percentage of a certain ethnic nationality were dwelling with us within Lagos, and what percentage of our economy in Lagos they contribute, you probably begin to see things otherwise. So data for security agencies is useful. You can begin to actually see things and trends well before they happen if you have the right data and you know what to do with your data. So national security-wise, or let me say political security-wise, even our political parties going forward should begin to have very robust skill sets within the party that can give them at a glance a figurative description of what the security situation is at the moment. Not necessarily, speculations and what we call reactions. Rather, you see responses. So security is key, particularly in this very dicey situation. I want to see a situation where we will begin to have in Nigeria, and we already have them, Lagos Igbos, Maiduguri Hausas. People have stayed long somewhere. I, for example, I'm from the north, yes, but I think I've spent more time on this side of the country than I have in the north. So you can easily call me a native of where I come from in the north, but a resident of Lagos. Yes.
Mr. Chukuma, this piece of course that have been signed, because the president and the president-elect had to renew theirs, and many are wondering, okay, well, the states, much as they don't think all of them signed that peace accord in the first instance, so they wonder, wherein then does renewing those peace accords pop in here? Do you think they are really living up to the tenets of the peace accord that they signed?
In spite of distractions, I will say largely yes. Again, comparing it to previous elections, you would have been reading, for instance, in Lagos here where we all live, when parties meet on the high streets or in street corners where their campaigns happen to run into each other, the fight, you hear about area boys supporting this one. We've not really had that. You know, what you are rather hearing is the inflammatory rhetorics, which can be kept to a minimum. So they have largely worked, but as we did in the presidential election, if you remember, I think it was 2 days to the elections that you had another round of signing. If we had a convening authority that can bring these candidates, the leading ones together, to revalidate the accord that they signed, remind them that they have a duty to engage their followers to behave themselves, I think it won't be out of order.
All right, Professor Chidotin Kalu is back now. Yes, I was going to get your perspective concerning what the commission, because you have a project on hate speech and election campaign, how people ought to conduct themselves. What's the thinking of the NHRC on the comment made by Above Lagos?
Sorry, I'm really struggling to hear.
Oh dear. Okay. I guess that's not happening yet today, so they'll see if we can, maybe one more attempt to see if we can sort that out. But moving forward now about how we seem to have made progress with the presidential elections, but I've heard also those who are participating in the local elections, that's the governorship elections, say, look, that is different because it concerns people who are within the state, it's closer to them, it's expected to be a lot more fierce. Security-wise, are the agencies supposed to approach it differently or just come up with the same kind of strategy that you came up with in the first place, provide normal security?
If you look at it politically, we could say it's different. But when you look at it in terms of security operations, it's not different. You're going to have the same people coming to the same polling booths in the same areas to just vote on a different, let me say, it's no longer the presidential and the other, what do you call it now, the presidential and the National Assembly. Now we are talking about gubernatorial. It's still the same process, isn't it? Now what we are looking to see is some people seem to get misled by the fact that because we've left the federal level, we are now at the state level, so they have the latitude or the accommodation to do what they want. That will not happen. I will tell you why, sorry.
Yeah, why?
The entire world, the same observers who came and watched over the presidential elections will still be here. And the security agencies who started the job and closed it successfully with the presidential elections will not want to trounce all of that because some people have misgivings about doing the same thing we've done before again. So I see to a larger percentage a situation where those who are hell-bent in causing hiccups here and there are actually going to meet enough security measures on ground, just as the IG said a short while ago. There are over 140 of them already helping policemen with their investigations.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We have to take another break, so then possibly we'll take a look at your comments when we return, including theirs also. Join us again.